Good afternoon and a warm welcome. This is the great KBC and just in time for KBC Lunchtime News. Time to make sense of news, and of course we do value your feedback, so hit us up at our social media spaces. I'm Njue. Lucy Mwaura joins me on the sign language interpretation. We begin our live coverage from State House, Nairobi, where President William Ruto has formally welcomed into the country 6 new ambassadors and high commissioners from People's Republic of Bangladesh, Sierra Leone, Rwanda, South Africa, Singapore, and the Dominican Republic. The envoys, who presented their credentials to the head of state on Wednesday morning at State House, Nairobi, vowed to support Kenya's mission in Haiti, dialogue efforts to resolve conflicts within the region, and expanding lucrative markets to broaden economic opportunities for the nations.
By dint of Article 132(4)(b) of the Constitution of Kenya, do accept your letters of credence and authorize you to pursue the interests of your country within Kenya's borders, and to pursue to the widest extent possible by promoting the interests of your country and working together in collaboration to ensure that the interests of our two countries are nurtured.
I wish to express profound gratitude for your leadership and vision and spearheading the United Nations mandate multinational security support mission to Haiti. We fully recognize the commitment and sacrifice involved in the deployment of Kenyan police officers. This is not only a gesture of solidarity, but a courageous and historic step toward global peace and regional stability.
Kenya's unwavering support during our liberation struggle at the birth of our nation and in the pursuit of peace has been invaluable.
Kenya and Rwanda enjoy strong relations that continue to grow from strength to strength. Our partnership is evident in areas such as trade, infrastructure, education, security cooperation, and people-to-people exchanges.
Ambassador, my very best wishes. High Commissioner, welcome to Kenya. Congratulations. My very best wishes on your...
To the ambassadors and high commissioners, we tell them Karibuni Kenya. To our next story, we cross over to the KICC, where HOPS, or Head of Public Service, Felix Koskei, is currently having a meeting with the principal secretaries, that is the PSs. Let's listen in.
Same case to universal healthcare. The stage at which it is now is gratifying because it is grounded now. We are moving steadily, well, and we want to consolidate the registration processes and ensure that we do more campaigns, we do more capacity building and sensitization to our people so that each and every member of this society is registered, and also the dependents, their dependents are also registered, so that all of us are onboarded as members of SHA, and thereby not only SHA will support the entire health system, but at the same time we get enough resources to take it to the next level. So all those 5 pillars that I've mentioned are critical, and as we are at the midterm of this administration, let us focus, let us make sure that we put all our efforts to ensure that we deliver as promised. Otherwise, mine is to thank all of us for really coming to this meeting, to have a very lively discourse. Contributions are up to the level that is required, and we want to consolidate again, come together, close ranks, and deliver as one. Thank you very much, and let us meet next month. Perhaps it is likely that the media would want to pick one or two issues with one of us. So let us give them a chance to ask and give them whatever information they want. Thank you.
Have been the head of public service and also head chief of staff. That is Felix Koskei there addressing principal secretaries in regards to government's bottom-up economic transformation agenda delivery plan. We'll be getting a little bit more in regards to that in our later bulletin. But moving on, the Kenya National Union of Teachers, NAT, has demanded a 60% increment on salaries and 30% increment on allowances. Speaking to mourners at a burial ceremony in Njue, Kirinyaga County, Deputy Secretary General Hesbon Otieno threatened industrial action by teachers if the Teacher Service Commission, TSC, fails to honor their demands as per the current collective bargaining agreement, CBA, which is expected to expire by the end of this month.
Tunasema hizo allowance zote ziongezwe at 30% ili mwalimu aweze kujikimu kimaisha. Hata hardship ambaye chairman amesema hapa serikali inajaribu
of 876 billion shillings. The organizations, including Kenya Human Rights Commission and Institute of Social Accountability, among others, also allege the Finance Bill 2025 contains proposals to allow Kenya Revenue Authority, KRA, access to mobile and bank transactions and data of all Kenyans, contrary to data privacy laws. They claim this access could be misused by authorities to track dissenting voices for political reasons.
Budget estimates submitted to Parliament indicate that the government plans to spend Kenya shillings 4.24 trillion against projected revenues of 3.32 trillion. It is important to note that out of the 3.32 trillion, 2.7 is ordinary revenue, while the remaining gap is appropriations in aid and what we get from grants. This will result into a massive deficit of 876 billion. Equally alarming is the proposal to delete Section 59A, subsection 1B of the Tax Procedures Act, which currently prohibits the Kenya Revenue Authority from accessing sensitive personal and customer data, such as bank transactions and mobile money records, without a court order. If passed, this amendment will grant the Kenya Revenue Authority unchecked surveillance powers and unfettered access to our personal information, violating the constitutional right to privacy under Article 31 and the provisions of the entire Data Protection Act of 2019.
And moving on, hundreds of women from Narok County have undergone a 3-day training on HIV/AIDS to reduce the spread of the disease in the county. The training was organized by the National Systemic Disease Control Council, NSDCC, to sensitize the women on HIV and related diseases following an influx of the disease in the county. Speaking during the training held at the Narok North Youth Empowerment Hall, Nixon Chepkwony, the NSDCC coordinator for the South Rift region, highlighted that over 15,000 persons are living with the disease in Narok County, with 399 new infections being reported yearly.
As National Systemic Disease Control Council, we recognize that women in leadership can play a big role in addressing some of the predisposing factors to syndemic diseases. One of them is the retrogressive cultural practices, which are very common in the communities living in Narok.
Tumesomesha wamama mambo ya kusimamisha ama kuacha FGM, kwa sababu pia ni jambo moja ambayo inaweza pia kuwa ina contribute kuleta madhara.
Tunashukuru tena pia serikali yetu imetupea hii fursa ya kuweza kufunza wamama kuhusu kujikinga na ukimwi.
Still on matters health, the Ministry of Health has expressed goodwill, pledging to absorb the universal health coverage medics under permanent and pensionable terms following talks with the Treasury, Cabinet Secretary and the Budget Committee to allocate enough funds for the exercise. This comes after the UHC workers who are on the 4th month of their go slow vow to remain out of work until they are absorbed on permanent and pensionable terms and paid their 5-year gratuity. Addressing the media during his visit at the Kenyatta National Hospital, the Cabinet Secretary for Health, Aden Duale, also disclosed that on the 2nd week of June, the ministry, in partnership with the Council of Governors Secretariat, will do a head count in all counties and weed out any ghost UHC worker.
It's barely 2 months to the transfer of these UHC health workers to the counties. But what next for them if the Ministry of Health fails to address their demands?
We are ready to be on the streets as long as we will be absorbed. If that does not happen, we will explore other legal channels.
As I am talking to the Minister for Finance and the Budget Committee on how to transition them to permanent and pensionable, we must protect every taxpayer's coin. So the 2nd week of June, a team from the Ministry of Health and a team from the Council of Governors Secretariat will visit every county and we shall do a head count. The chair of the Health Committee, the Governor of Tharaka Nithi, said 3,000. You should ask him where you got the 3,000. But that one thing I agree with him is that the numbers are not tallying. And I have said we will not pay. And before we transit to permanent and pensionable, we want to know, do we have 5,000 UHC staff or do we have 8,000?
And from health to conservation, where environmentalists are urging the government to invest more in the youth, particularly through schools, church-based youth groups and environment clubs, by providing incentives to plant and care for trees as part of a long-term solution to tackling climate change. One notable example is DEB KMC Mixed Primary School in Mavoko Sub-County, Machakos County, where pupils working alongside local environmentalists have transformed a semi-arid land into a thriving green space. Using water from a borehole within the school, they have successfully planted and continue to nurture a growing number of trees. The environmentalists say school-going children remain a key driver in the country's achievement of its forest coverage target of 15 billion trees by 2030.
And there were no trees. So we started planting trees here. The aim was and is still to reclaim the area from the vagaries of climate change.
Even though the environmental conditions are a bit harsh, we really try as much as we can to take care of these trees, and we work together with the teachers whom I have here to make sure that the project is sustainable.
Now, the National Syndemic Disease Control Council, NSDCC, is stepping up sensitization efforts to mitigate the risk of HIV and AIDS and hepatitis infections among people who inject drugs, that is PWID. The initiative will incorporate the group as prevention champions and agents at the community level through a peer-to-peer approach. These and other stories in the County News Wrap.
According to the National Syndemic Disease Control Council, the former or recovering people who inject drugs will be equipped with knowledge on HIV and hepatitis transmission, harms reduction, and how to access healthcare services.
If we empower these champions, itakuwa rahisi wao kwenda kwa maskani mali wenzao wako ili waje na pia wapate matibabu ambao wanapata, ili tupunguze uwezekano wao kuambukizwa na HIV.
Still on alcohol and drug abuse, NACADA coordinator for Turkana, Scholar Komen, has launched a series of roadshows to raise awareness on alcohol and drug abuse aimed at sensitizing the public on its dangers. In Kakamega County, residents of Okumu Trading Center were left in shock after the body of a middle-aged man was discovered under a stationary lorry. According to the local reports, the deceased, who is believed to be the driver of the lorry, was brutally murdered by the non-assailants.
Kwa hivyo tunaomba serikali kama wanaweza watuletee maaskari hapa kwa Okumu, watuchengee taa kubwa vile mwenzangu amesema, hapa insecurity ni mbaya.
Still in Kakamega County, residents of Kakamega Town and its surrounding areas have a new reason to smile following the launch of a major water distribution project by the Kakamega County government.
Najua tumekuwa na shida kubwa sana hapa town. Watu wanapata maji siku 3 kwa wiki. Lakini baada ya mradi huu ambao tunazindua leo, watu watapata maji.
In Kitui County, a merriment atmosphere rocked Mutungoni village as serving and retired military officers paid a courtesy visit to retired Warrant Officer 1 Major Erasmus Mwenga, who retired in 2002 after serving the nation for 37 years.
Sisi wenye tuko kwa uniform sana sana wale nimekuja nao. Let's emulate Kenya Mzee alifanya, si ndio? So, nafikiri wametoka busy ni kufuata tu ile mienendo yake, si ndio?
Elsewhere in Isiolo County, residents of remote villages in Garbatula sub-county now have a reason to smile following the establishment of an ultra-modern eye unit at the Garbatula sub-county referral hospital.
It's you people to reach out to our community, to educate them and tell them whatever you get when you've spent a lot of money on transportation, the same services, you'll get them here.
Finally, in Laikipia County, parents of children with autism in Mount Kenya region have received a major boost following the launch of a state-of-the-art center in Nanyuki. The state-of-the-art Autistic Center was officially inaugurated by Njue Diocese Bishop.
So many families unable to handle what is happening to their children. Most of those families are poor and are not being able to address the problem. And when they do, it's too expensive.
Aaron Marie, Lunchtime News.
Moving on, Kenyans are being challenged to use the forthcoming Eid-ul-Adha to give back to society. Pwani Patriotics Religious Leaders Chairperson Sheikh Abu Katada says the public holiday offers an opportunity for the country to reset and Kenyans to share with the downtrodden. He spoke in Garsen constituency during the distribution of relief food to flood victims.
Na kama tunavyojua hali ya uchumi si hali, na baada ya siku za kuhesabika siku 2-3 tutakuwa katika sherehe ya Eid. Tukaona tuweze kuwakumbuka ndugu zetu ambao kwamba wanapitia changamoto na hali nzito ya kimaisha maeneo kama haya, kwa sababu dini yetu ni dini ya huruma. Dini yetu inatufunza tuwe ni wenye kuwasikitikia wale ambao kwamba hawana nafasi ya kimaisha.
Moving on, development in the education sector continues to take shape across the country with infrastructural upgrades and support for learners gaining momentum. In Ndia constituency, Kirinyaga County, a secondary school has benefited from a multi-million shilling facility, while in Bobasi, Kisii County, the local member of parliament is pushing for economic reforms to address youth employment.
Mukui Day Secondary India constituency, Kirinyaga County, has received a significant boost through the National Government Constituencies Development Fund, NGCDF. The school has now set a multipurpose hall built at a cost of 7 million shillings and a 52-seater bus valued at 11.6 million shillings.
For the bus, certainly it comes with some advantages. It's a youth movement, taking them for co-curricular activities, the academic tours and such. So we shall be able to save on the transport of students as well as staff. We also shall be able to market our school in the sense that our students will be able now to participate in almost each and every co-curricular activity. So it also serves as a marketing tool for our school.
This marks the third school in the region to benefit from such projects after Sagana and St. Philip. George Waruru says Hall ends the tradition of students eating in classrooms and outdoors.
Tena amejenga hall kubwa ya watoto wetu kule ambao watakuwa wakila chakula.
Meanwhile, in Kisii County, Bobasi constituency member of Parliament Innocent Obiri has called for sound economic management as a remedy for rising youth unemployment. Speaking during Nyamache Secondary School's Education Day, the legislator said a vibrant economy will spur industrial growth and create more jobs for the youth.
So in dividing the CDF, it becomes a big challenge, but I try. It has helped many, and I try to be as transparent as I can.
Obiri urged the school to prioritize construction of a perimeter wall and acquisition of a standby generator. The school principal Heron Obike raised concern of absenteeism due to unpaid fees.
I want to request our parents that we know how the economy is, but we want to ask you that try as much as possible so that we don't delay in providing your sons with what they need. So please, our parents, always partner with us, give us maturing or promises that matures. So some of us, sometimes we ask your boys to come for these resources and they take too long to come to school. And this absenteeism leads them to missing a lot of lessons which will make them not to do very well.
164 Kenyan Certificate of Secondary Education candidates who qualified to join public universities were feted during the event. Julius Ogina reporting for Channel 1.
Thank you so much. That is wonderful.
Very well, at about 24 minutes past the top of the hour, we are due for our first break. But when we come back, I will run you through a couple of more stories. Then we make sense of business and later on, sports.
Have a complaint, or is something just not adding up with your pension scheme? It's easy to file a complaint directly with the Retirement Benefits Authority, and it's absolutely free. Just visit www.complaints.rba.go.ke and follow the prompts to file your complaint. RBA will acknowledge your complaint within 7 working days. Your complaint will be reviewed and addressed within 30 working days. Your time and peace of mind are important, and anyone dissatisfied with a decision of RBA can appeal to the Independent Retirement Benefits Appeals Tribunal. RBA is here to listen and resolve your complaint promptly, because your retirement should be stress-free. For more information, visit our website www.rba.go.ke, call our toll-free line 0800 720 300 or email info@rba.go.ke. Secure your future. Secure your peace of mind. RBA, safeguarding your retirement benefits.
Je, umewahi kuwa na deni ya KRA? Basi usiwe na shaka. KRA wakishirikiana na KBC wamekuandalia roadshow murwa kabisa. Jiunge nasi tukufahamishe kuhusu KRA Tax Amnesty Program na jinsi utakavyoweza kusamehewa adhabu na riba na KRA. Pia tutakuwa tunakusaidia kujaza fomu za kodi za mwaka 2024 na kukusaidia na huduma za KRA kwa mtaa wako. Jumatano tarehe 4 mwezi Juni tutazuru Makueni. Tutaanzia Salama, Sultan Hamud, Emali, Ukia, Mukuyuni, wote Makindu, Kibwezi, Mtito Andei. KRA, tulipe ushuru, tujitegemee. The men and women in boots, they are commanded to defend and protect the sovereignty and territorial integrity of the Republic of Kenya. Their bravery knows no limits.
Make a man go through the wall without breaking the wall. Laziness, it is not in our vocabulary.
But what are their stories, their tales? Military Tales, every Saturday at 9 p.m. with Njue.
Welcome back to Lunchtime News, and many thanks for keeping me company. Moving on, Kakamega County Governor Fernandez Barasa has called on the contractor working on the Amalemba informal settlement road to speed up the works. Governor Barasa made the remarks during an inspection tour of the project, which is being funded by the national government under the Kenya Informal Settlements Improvement Project, KISIP. He reiterated his administration's commitment to providing quality infrastructure to the people of Kakamega County, dismissing critics of his government, terming their comments as baseless propaganda aimed at derailing development efforts.
Kazi ambayo imebaki hapa ni kuhakikisha kuna street lighting hapa Amalemba. Hilo ni jambo la kwanza. Jambo la pili ni kuhakikisha drainage, ni mambo ya drainage tuko na challenge kidogo. Hiyo pia nimeambia contractor hakikishe drainage hapa imekuwa lami ikitoka kule Mayakalo inapita hapa. Juzi nilikuwa pale Savona kuzindua mradi ya maji 50 milioni Kenya hii tuliweka pale ili tuweze kuzuia shida ambayo iko hapa na kusuluhisha shida ya maji hapa. Na hiyo ndio project ambayo tunafanya. Na unakuta watu wengine hapa ndani wanasema hakuna project ambayo inaendelea, kazi haiendelei. Kazi inafanyika ama haifanyiki? Inafanyika.
From Kakamega to county number 14, where a section of elders in Embu County has called on the leadership of the United Democratic Alliance Party, UDA, to embrace dialogue to sort out their differences. Speaking during a press briefing in Embu on Tuesday, the elders expressed concern over what they termed as political tensions between the leaders, terming it unhealthy and would only serve to derail development in the county. The call comes days after Embu County Governor Cecily Mbarire, who is also the UDA chairperson, alleged that there were senior government officials trying to undermine her authority.
Tungetaka ikiwa kuna jambo lolote imetokea, tafadhalini mkae chini muongee. Lakini kwa sababu siasa haina urafiki na haina uadui, njia nzuri ni kutengeneza urafiki.
Now, after serving in different portfolios in the Catholic Church for 13 years, including serving as an ordained priest, George Kamau Muhoho quit his priestly duties and calling for the murky waters of politics. In the 1983 polls, he was elected the Juja constituency legislator and joined President Daniel Arap Moi's government as an assistant minister and later joined the cabinet as tourism and wildlife minister. Here's our focus today on the cabinet.
Muhoho joined politics when he left priesthood and ventured into politics in the 1983 polls when he contested and won the Juja parliamentary seat. It is believed that his decision to join elective politics was influenced by the experience of his brother-in-law, Kenya's founding president, Mzee Jomo Kenyatta. Prior to that, Muhoho was ordained as a Catholic priest in 1963 and served the church in various administrative capacities. At one time, Muhoho the priest rose through the ranks of the Catholic Church to serve as private secretary to Pope IV. In addition to service to the Pope, Muhoho was the first black African Pope or envoy to Brussels, Luxembourg, the Council of Europe and NATO. Muhoho left it all behind to enter local politics, and after his win in 1983, President Moi appointed him Assistant Minister for Education, later elevating him to Minister for Tourism and Wildlife in 1987. As Tourism Minister, Muhoho is credited with using his connections abroad to market the country as a preferred tourist destination. Under President Moi, his notable efforts included fighting poaching, especially of elephants in Kenya, which had become rampant in the late 80s. After his cabinet exit, Muhoho, together with Mwai Kibaki, Njenga Karume and John Keane, founded the Democratic Party DP, and he was very instrumental in ensuring President Mwai Kibaki became president in the 2002 general election. In 2004, President Mwai Kibaki appointed Muhoho as Director General of Kenya Airports Authority (KAA), where he is credited with overseeing the construction of a new modern wing at Jomo Kenyatta International Airport and a new airport in Kisumu City. However, in 2008, the Efficiency Monitoring Unit raised questions over the expenditure of 1.7 billion shillings on contracts by KAA. The unit, together with the Inspectorate of State Corporations, revealed the KAA board and management had failed to comply with regulations in the awarding of contracts. He left the position in 2010, after which he joined other members of the Kenyatta family to campaign for Uhuru Kenyatta, who became the fourth president of Kenya. In 2017, Muhoho also campaigned for President Uhuru to retain his seat and eventually left the political stage to oversee the vast Kenyatta family businesses.
And don't forget to check out our weekly segment, The Cabinet, every Monday at 9 p.m. And for the lovers of military tales, just a quick one is that it is resuming this Saturday at 9 p.m. In other news, Kaya elders from the Magarini Cultural Center in Kilifi County have stepped up efforts to restore degraded forest cover in the area as a way of combating climate change. According to Tsuma Nzai, the coordinator of the center, they plan to plant 20 million seedlings of indigenous species in Kaya forests, schools, churches, homes, etc. Speaking at Msangamali Comprehensive School in Magarini Sub-County, Nzai said they have partnered in the initiative with stakeholders such as the Green Umbrella Movement to distribute indigenous tree seedlings to homes, schools and other institutions.
Tunapanda asilia kwa sababu asilia katika sehemu yetu hii ya mwambao huwa inastamili joto. Unajua si kila mti unapandwa kila mahali. Na utaona kama maofisa wa foresti au wale wengine hawafanyi utafiti kama wazee wanafanya. Kwa sababu kila eneo liko na mazingira yake. Kwa hivyo kama sehemu hii ya pwani, miti ambayo inatakana ipandwe ni ile ambayo inamiliki mambo ya joto. Na hii miti ambayo tumepanda ni ile asilia ambayo inamiliki hata kama joto likiwa namna gani, lakini inajikakamua paka inakuwa mikubwa.
Tuko tayari kupanda miti sehemu za makanisa, hata mijini. Hii miji ambayo tunakaa, tena hatutaki tukuona mji unapigwa na kiangazi, hakuna mti hata mmoja hapo mjini, hapana. Tunataka kila mji iwekwe miti ili kwamba kuwe na vivuli. Na hii miti ni muhimu maana inaleta hewa mzuri kwa jamii.
Tuko na ile ya matunda na pia tuko na ile ya asilia ili kurudisha tu misitu yetu, kama vile kila mmoja anaona ya kwamba misitu imeathirika sana, ni kama inaelekea kuisha tu.
Now, the Office of the Data Protection Commissioner has put on notice the education, hospitality, property management sectors, issuing a directive to prepare for mandatory data protection inspections starting July. Data Commissioner Immaculate Kasait made the announcement during a meeting in Nairobi, reaffirming the ODPC's firm commitment to enforcing the Data Protection Act of 2019. She emphasized that continuous compliance monitoring is no longer optional. These three sectors, of which handle significant volumes of personal data, will be required to ensure full compliance with data protection requirements or face regulatory consequences.
And we've developed an inspection tool which we shared today, and we'll also share with all the stakeholders who are in these sectors. And really our work is we're asking them basic questions around the Data Protection Act. Have you, for instance, registered? What kind of data are you collecting? Have you undertaken a data protection impact assessment? Those are generally the questions to have a sense. Do you have a data protection policy? A sense of where they are in the roadmap towards ensuring data protection.
And for us in international schools where we're working with the data subjects that are drawn from all the parts of the world, it is important for us to look at our systems and look at what it exactly needs to be done so that the privacy of our young people and safeguarding of the information is done appropriately.
With this training, at least now we have started building a relationship with the Office of Data Protection, and now we'll be able to inform our members to register so that they can be ready for the inspection. So first is the registration bit, which we are ready for, and more trainings to our members, because like I said, most of the times we do as sole proprietors, and sometimes maybe this registration was meant maybe for institutions. So we'll be ready to be registered and also to comply.
Moving on, the Pest Control and Products Board has faulted a report indicating that there are high residue levels in potatoes from Nyandarua. Pest Control and Products Board Chief Executive Officer Frederick Mushiri instead says samples from potatoes collected from the area are safe for consumption. Mushiri says 2 insecticides mentioned in the report are not licensed for food crop production, and there was no direct evidence linking the chemicals to potato production.
We've talked about the 2 active ingredients which appear to have caused a lot of problems in Nyandarua. The 2 active ingredients whose application we have already stated that it was a misuse. The science behind the 2 is that these products are contact. What that means is that if you apply it on the leaves, it will never be moved to the roots. It will remain there. However, the study seeks to allude that the 2 products were found in the tubers, and we know the potato tubers are usually underground.
Still on potatoes, but this time round the sweet ones, farmers in Nyandarua County have been urged to adapt drought-resistant sweet potato variety due to the climate change shifting from traditional crops like Irish potatoes, which has been heavily impacted by unpredictable weather and frost.
Farmers in the Lower Ndaragwa constituency in Nyandarua County have long struggled with food insecurity due to erratic rainfall and frequent crop failures challenges that have particularly affected children through widespread malnutrition.
And having the semi-arid areas in Nyandarua County, we need to have crops that are drought resistant and that can resist can even grow when the rainfall is quite erratic. And so, hence, with that in mind, we have realized that the sweet potato vines that are being grown in this place, they can be one of the beneficial crops that can be grown in Ndaragwa Central and assist the farmers on food security and also revenue generation and also income in their pockets.
The introduction of a drought-resistant sweet potato variety is proving to be a transformative solution aimed at boosting both food security and nutritional well-being in the region. The variety was brought to the area after its successful cultivation in similarly hot and dry conditions.
Jaribu kutafuta ni nini tunaweza kuza ili wazazi wapate chakula, watoto wapate chakula na hata pesa tupate. Nikaenda nikapata viazi vitamu ambavyo vinakuzwa sehemu zile ni kame zaidi. Nikakuja nazo na nikajaribu, nikapanda, nikaita majirani, tukaona venye tunapanda, na sasa hii leo tumekuwa kwa shamba kutoa mazao yetu, na sehemu kidogo tu kwota aneka tumeweza kutoa kilo 2,000.
Assistant Chief Gakuo Mushai hailed the initiative as a game changer and committed to championing its adoption to ensure sustainable food security and improved household livelihoods.
Tunasisitiza sana mambo ya food security, food sustainability, kukula chakula tofauti, na ndio huwa tunasema watu wapande miti ili at least tubadilishe hii hewa yetu. Tuletewe avocado, tuletewe paeto. Hiyo yote wakati watu wameharvest na wamepata pesa access, sasa zile vitu hata hazikui huku wanaweza nunua.
Sylvia Gatti reporting for Lunchtime News.
Well, from potato, we cross over to the US, where President Donald Trump has signed an order doubling tariffs on steel and aluminum imports from 25% to 50%. The move hikes import taxes on the metals, key inputs in everything from cars to canned food for the second time since March. More details in our International Business Roundup.
Announced a doubling of tariffs on most imported steel and aluminium, now set at 50%. This aggressive move, aimed at bolstering domestic industries, is already sparking significant criticism. While the UK secured a 25% cover, the increased duties are expected to severely impact foreign steel producers, trigger retaliatory measures from key partners like Canada and EU, and significantly raise costs for US manufacturers, potentially leading to job losses and higher consumer prices. Meanwhile, China announced Monday to remove some non-tariff countermeasures against the US, a key part of their trade truce. This raises hopes for the relaxation of China's rare earth export restrictions, which were expanded last month to include 7 rare earths, adding to existing controls on over a dozen minerals requiring export licenses. While China also maintains separate export bans on gallium, germanium, and antimony to the US, the current agreement primarily addresses measures implemented since April 2nd, though industry sources believe the truce could still expedite approvals for rare earth exports. Finally, the Australian Bureau of Statistics reports the economy grew by a modest 0.2% in the March quarter and 1.3% through the year. This marks a slowdown from late 2024 and missed expectations. The Reserve Bank of Australia has since downgraded its annual GDP growth forecast, now expecting 1.8% by June, rising to 2.1% by year-end. This downgrade follows the Trump administration's shock tariff announcement in April, meaning Australia will need to see noticeable growth in the current quarter to hit that annual target.
The Food and Agriculture Organization FAO has disbursed 400 million shillings to beekeepers in 5 counties to increase apiculture. The food organization says the investment is set to increase pollination services in the country's food basket to increase food production in the country.
Import bill dipped 12% to 266.4 billion shillings in 2024 due to good weather conditions. Players in the agriculture value chain say the numbers could further reduce if pollination services investment were increased.
This is what we call propolis.
The Food and Agriculture Organization now says it is planning to increase pollination services in key food basket counties in the country to increase agriculture output.
Pollination services is one aspect that's not really been appreciated. The value of apiculture is really not, the greatest value is not actually honey, but the pollination services. But this, as I said, has not really been appreciated because 75% of global food crops actually depend on pollination service.
In Naivasha, Nakuru County, farmers have been trained on beekeeping in efforts to increase pollination services.
Tangu tulipoanza hali na ukulima wa mahindi, maharagwe, hata maharagwe yetu haikuwa inafanya vizuri. Lakini sasa kwa vile nyuki tunao wanatembea kwa miti yetu ya matunda, inaleta mazao mazuri. Sababu unajua nyuki wanaenda kutafuta asali kwa miti ya nyuki na kwa miti ya matunda. Ikishaenda kwa miti ya matunda ikitafuta inakuja na asali tunakuwa nayo kwa wingi.
According to the farmers, before the beekeeping venture, they used to apply excessive fertilizer, increasing the cost of production and depleting soils.
Pereni mazingira venye ilikuwa imeharibika, hatukuwa tunapata mapato. Unakuta eka moja mtu anapata eka gunia ngapi? Gunia 5.
The beehives are strategically put inside a brew forest to help conserve the forest and create a sense of ownership among residents.
Msitu iliharibiwa, chakula hatukupata hapa kwetu. Ukienda kwa mashamba mengi, mambo ya erosion ikawa kwa wingi, na diposa tuliintroduce mambo ya beekeeping.
Kila mtu apande, ikiwa kwenyu iko mzinga, uzigatie hiyo mizinga, alafu utapata faida kubwa kuliko kulima.
The beekeepers have formed a cooperative to enjoy economies of scale in the honey business and also acquire equipment for honey value addition.
Once we stabilize, we want to aggregate all the honey in one place. Now, instead of the farmer selling to their own customers, we'll be selling as a cooperative in our own shop.
Benson Rioba reporting for Lunchtime News.
To tilt the lens and focus on matters sports, the national women's soccer team Harambee Starlets have confirmed their participation in the CECAFA Senior Women's Championship set for Dar es Salaam, Tanzania from the 12th to the 22nd of this month. That is according to Football Kenya Federation. The 5 nations regional championship will also feature South Sudan, Burundi, Uganda and host Tanzania. Harambee Starlets are currently in Morocco, where they held a training session in preparation for their international friendly against the Atlas Lionesses this evening in Tangier. The match will act as a build-up towards the CECAFA tournament, as well as the final round of the 2026 CAF Women's African Nations Cup against Gambia, which will be played in October this year. Meanwhile, the national men's soccer team, Harambee Stars, departed last night, that is Tuesday, for Morocco, where they are scheduled to face Chad in 2 international friendlies from this Saturday.
Hii friendly, I think, inatusaidia sisi kama players ku prepare to coming WAFCON qualifiers, and inatupea pia a lot of experiences kama players.
Kwa leo niko tayari, timu iko tayari kwa mechi ya leo, kulingana na training tumefanya na kulingana venye my teammate venye wametrain, inaonyesha tuko tayari kwa game ya leo. So hii game inatugauge, game iko mbele yetu ya qualifiers.
Further afield, Germany is scheduled to play Portugal in the UEFA Nations League semi-finals at the Allianz Arena tonight after they defeated Italy 5-4 on aggregate, while Portugal beat Denmark 5-3 on aggregate after the match went into extra time to secure their spot. 2019 champions Portugal will be hoping that their poor run of form in 3 consecutive away games won't affect their ambitions of a second title triumph, while the Germans will be appearing in the semi-finals for the first time and have a home advantage over their visitors. Spain will host defending champions France in the other semi-final tomorrow in MHP Arena, Stuttgart, Germany. Elsewhere, Carlos stayed on Alcaraz's course. Carlos Alcaraz stayed on course for his title of defense in the French Open when he defeated 12th seed Tommy Paul in the quarterfinals of the Roland Garros to book a date with Lorenzo Musetti. Alcaraz only lost a game against the American, who he beat 6-love, 6-1, 6-4 as 23-year-old Musetti, who is in the Grand Slam for the second time in his career, overcame Francis Tiafoe 6-2, 4-6, 7-5 and 6-2. No, this will be a very good relief for Manchester United fans. Manchester United captain Bruno Fernandes says he rejected a huge offer from Saudi Pro League club Al Hilal because he wants to continue to play at the highest level. The 30-year-old spent the past few days seriously considering a deal that would have more than doubled his salary at Old Trafford, where he is one of the biggest earners.
He can do the lot. A brilliant strike and nothing more than Manchester
World Cup. Fernandes has made 290 appearances and scored to pay Man United a fee to take him back for breaking the obligation clause. The Blues wanted Sancho to stay but could not agree personal terms. Instead, they will pay a £5 million penalty to Manchester United to get out of the obligation. Elsewhere, French side Monaco and Spanish side Barcelona have reactivated negotiations to define the future of Ansu Fati after a weekend where talks appear to have cooled off. The Spanish winger is getting closer to joining the Principality club on loan in a deal that includes a purchase option for €12 million and a significant future sell clause. The agreement is in an advanced stage, with only a few details remaining to be finalized.
And so Bruno Fernandes is staying another season at Manchester United. I call that discipline. And you know what they say? Discipline is the tax that you pay for success later. Anyway, I leave you with that. Many thanks indeed for joining us on behalf of everyone who's made this broadcast a success. Many thanks indeed. My name is Njue. Lucy Maura has been my colleague on the sign language interpretation. Don't forget to check out our social media spaces for more news. More news in our subsequent bulletin. Have a good afternoon.
Je, umewahi kuwa na deni ya KRA? Basi, usiwe na shaka. KRA wakishirikiana na KBC wamekuandalia roadshow murwa kabisa. Jiunge nasi tukufahamishe kuhusu KRA Tax Amnesty Program na jinsi utakavyoweza kusamehewa adhabu na riba na KRA. Pia, tutakuwa tunakusaidia kujaza fomu za kodi za mwaka 2024 na kukusaidia na huduma za KRA kwa mtaa wako. Jumatano tarehe 4 mwezi Juni, tutazuru Makueni. Tutaanzia Salama, Sultan Hamud, Emali, Ukia, Mukuyuni, wote Makindu, Kibwezi, Mtito Andei. KRA, tulipe ushuru, tujitegemee.
Something doesn't add up.
So go get Fiona.
Why would mom up and leave and not tell me nor Musa and go to the south coast and be silent? Are you sure she didn't tell you anything?
When will you ever own a compound of your own with a mansion, a parking lot inside, and a swimming pool? Man suffered from pneumonia, microscopic silica volcaniosis, blubberwas to my own house.
Do you even know what you're saying?
He threatened me. He must be fired.
Mark, I'm not your wife or your househelp to be sending me around.
Yeah.
Auntie, I'm old enough kuwa naambiwa vitu zingine.
That's true, but I'm not in the position to do so. And nilikuwa tunaropokwa.
You don't just say things, Auntie Jane.
Ndamwambiaje Musa mamake hayuko, na hata mimi mwenyewe sijui mahali yuko.